A very good evening to all of you. I am Ashish Jacob Thomas, the PRO for the university for whom may not know me. Welcome to the first distinguished lecture of this academic session. We have with us Dr. Anant Paradkar, who is also the IOE Research Chair Professor at the University of Hyderabad. And today he will be delivering a distinguished lecture on the topic, Innovation Management for Successful Translation in the Universities. May I request our Vice Chancellor, sir, and the Dean of Chemistry to please come on to the dais along with the distinguished speaker. Another request is, please keep your mobiles on silent mode. And if our friends at the back could just move a little forward, the hall will look a little more occupied. It's a request. Please do come. Thank you. Now we'll start off the proceedings. May I request Professor Ashwini Nangia to give the welcome.
Good afternoon, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor B.J. Rao, Professor Anant Paradkar from the University of Bradford and currently visiting University of Hyderabad as the IOE Chair Professor, Professor Ghanshyam Krishna, Deans, faculty colleagues and students. And of course, thank you, Mr. Ashish, for making all the arrangements for this distinguished lecture of today. At the outset, I think I will share my sentiment that it is quite disappointing that the attendance in a lecture such as this, which is a distinguished lecture, and may I say, covering a topic which is very, very broad. It impacts all schools, all departments, the entire community of this university. So it is difficult to understand the lack of a visible response from a university such as ours. Maybe this is not the right time or the right platform to say it, but I think I have said it anyway. So now I should say a few words about my interactions and my association with Professor Anant Paradkar. We have known each other for over 15 years now. We met for the first time in the UK. He had just moved there. We met at a conference in the University of Nottingham, which was in the area of innovation and startups. And these buzzwords were very relatively new in the UK, globally, and in India as well. And at that time, I remember he was telling me how he had just initiated the idea of self-sustained units, academic units and centers of excellence within his university, so that the translation of academic results to the marketplace could happen in an accelerated model. He also spoke of generating revenue other than what university gets as grants, and he is also from a public university. These ideas sounded very futuristic, as you will all agree, around 2008, 9, 10. I think we all accept them as something we see every day in the news media, in social media, pronouncements from UGC and the Ministry of Education in our country. May I say that he has been very successful in implementing this model, and that's why when he said we had informal discussions within the school, I felt that if he can share his own journey in this area, then we could perhaps learn something. He has translated science into innovation, and one of his very famous products worldwide is a more stable effervescent formulation. And effervescence is very common in pharmaceuticals, in detergents, in many kinds of products. But because effervescence is also an unstable form of the solid material, these effervescent materials have to be kept in a in a totally moisture-free environment, and that increases the cost, that increases the processing of the product, that of course also increases the cost of packaging it in moisture-free sealed packets. He has made a more stable version of the effervescent formulation, which need not be passing through all the strict anhydrous conditions, moisture-free conditions that are normally required, and yet when you dunk it in water, it effervesces. So it's stable otherwise under normal ambient atmosphere, but when you want to use it, it's still doing its job very well, and that's really what innovators want, that it fills a gap in the marketplace, something which is a new technology and also meets a need in the market. This is just one of the examples. I'm sure in the next 1 hour or so, he will share his journey of how he has transformed the translation model in the university system, and we look forward to hearing him. Welcome, Professor Geeta Vemuganti as well. And thank you very much, and I now hand over to Mr. Ashish, the next part of the program.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our Vice Chancellor, sir, to come and give the presidential address.
I want to formally welcome Professor Anant Paradkar ji to University of Hyderabad as IOE Chair Professor, and for giving this distinguished lecture. When I looked at Anant Paradkar ji's profile, something struck me very hard, and that was the transition that he made from a relatively modest upbringing in Pune to a fairly impactful performance at Bradford, where, as Ashwini Nangia ji put it, he actually translated science into societal products. And to come to think of it, that's a big, big transition. Most of us get trapped in science, and some of us get trapped in applications, and some in-betweens. In some sense, he has made the complete journey. And when you look at his publications, his science, it's very clear that he studies the pharmaceutical formulations very carefully, their properties and their functionality connections. So in some sense, he brings out the real science in the material that he is studying and orients that towards the benefits. So it's a very interesting transition. And the expression that I read when I was reading about his profile is innovation management. Innovation doesn't happen in thin air. It doesn't simply happen out of creativity. It happens when a system is put in place. It requires an active management where innovators are facilitated towards bringing out their products to the society. And I think that particular phrase is extremely meaningful phrase, and it is this phrase that we have entirely neglected in the Indian system. We have innovators, but we have not sufficient innovation management systems. I am very much eager to listen to his distinguished lecture, and I also wish that this hall were brimming with audience. I do not know why University of Hyderabad is going the way it is going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Though we have less audience in this hall, sir, this lecture is being recorded and it will be on YouTube in a day or two. So whoever could not attend could watch it on the YouTube channel of the university. Professor Anant Paradkar may not need much introduction to the academic and scientific community, but for all others who would love to know about him, may I request Professor Chandrasekhar to come and introduce the guest.
Good afternoon. It's really an honor to introduce our IOA Chair Professor and today's distinguished speaker, Professor Anant Paradkar. You all have seen a brief abstract is given about his achievements, and just to not to waste too much time, let me tell that he is occupying the position of Professor and Director at the Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Sciences at Bradford University. And as Professor Nangia mentioned, he spent a considerable amount of time in India, and he spent nearly 2 decades at various capacities in Indian academics in Nagpur, Pune, and Bharat Vidyapith. And his research is not only focused on pharmaceutical sciences, but also on, as mentioned before, the translation of the technology into industry. That is the specialty of Professor Anant. And in pharmaceutical sciences, you can't avoid these 2 keywords, crystals and particle engineering, and in both are very much of his research area, which is highly interdisciplinary, also includes a lot of engineering aspects as well. And he has several publications, probably soon he will hit the double century mark, and supervised many talented doctorates. And also any research group achievement you want to see, you can just look at the fund raised by the PA of that particular group. In that aspect, he is quite successful. More than £5 million he has raised, not from funding agencies, more importantly from companies. And that is the highlight of his research group. And as Professor Nangia mentioned, he has a trademark product which he developed in his lab, effervescent product technology. Now it is has been translated to industry, commercialized. EPSRC, EPSRC, these are the trademarks. If you search, Google it, you will be able to find. And see, he is here with us to talk something which is not very common among scientists. This word management, I don't think we really use. Okay, maybe we may use sometime project management. Okay, but what actually he is trying to say is innovation management. And if you look at his abstract, what it says is innovation is not really, very, missing term in India. Innovation is there, but if you don't really manage the innovation, and if you don't take it to the commercialization, and then there will be a, been a kind of, not a complete journey. It's as Professor Rao also said, it's an incomplete journey. So he has successfully completed this journey, and he has been working on. And in particularly, we have very close interaction, and I met him, and he met me, and so he is having completely different mindset. I could easily get it because I'm locked in science. But when he saw my results, and he told me, you can do that one, this one, that one. So it's very nice to meet people like that, to learn new things. And what actually he believes is we have to create awareness in Indian universities about innovation management, so that the science, innovative science, can be translated into industry. So that is the reason we are all here, to listen from him about innovation management and successful translation in the universities. Without taking much time, I kindly invite you to deliver your distinguished lecture, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. At the onset, I'm really thankful for the audience. And first, Professor Rao, Honorable Vice Chancellor, my host, Professor Nangia, Dr. Ganesh, Professor Ganesham, thank you for providing me this opportunity for IOE's Chair Professorship. All the esteemed faculty members, researchers, and students who are here, I'm thankful that you have shown interest in the topic. I'm going to start with some introduction about the university, and then I will get into how innovation management is essential, especially in the universities, how much difference does it make, and what are the challenges which we face as academics. So this is University of Bradford on a nice sunny day. Bradford is situated 200 miles north of London. Sunny day, nowadays we get few sunny days in the UK. It's a small university. Our capacity strength is around 8 to 10,000 students. Very small campus compared to this. It may be 1/58th of the campus size of this university. But that is advantageous, I thought, when I went there, because we can interact far better. Engineering is next door, chemistry is, so that was from interdisciplinarity point, we thought it is a good opportunity. So my journey started at Bradford in 2003. I went to Bradford for a 3-month Royal Society visit, and then in 2007 again as UKIERI fellow for a year, and to work with Professor Peter York, with Professor Peter York. Professor Peter York that time had started what is called as Institute of Pharmaceutical Innovation, IPI. IPI came up through a spin-out in 1994. Peter York and his PhD student, Hannah, during PhD, they developed supercritical fluid crystallized material, powder particles, and realized that the surface of the supercritical material, which is SCF crystallized, is far better for inhalation. So surface properties of the material changes during crystallization, and that is how Peter York started a company called Bradford Particle Design in the Science Park in Bradford. And in 2001, Bradford Particle Design was sold to Nectar Therapeutics for $220 million. That time, and still recently, this is one of the major commercial success in the UK academics. So this goes very well with making knowledge work motto of the university. I went there in 2003 to 2005, 2007. That time I had opportunity to interact. I had opportunity to interact with mainly Prof York, but other departments, mainly polymer and process engineering. And another person is Dr. Andy Dooley. Andy Dooley was Director for Research and Knowledge Transfer Support. So equivalent of Professor Prasad here, Professor Prasad, Anil, Ram Krishna, equivalent to that, supporting researchers. And that time in 2008, I thought this is wonderful. This is something which I was really struggling to get in India that time. And I thought this is something which will be helpful for academic. This type of support, if I can get, will allow me to take something to the next stage. And University of Bradford was very kind. They offered me professorship after my visit, and I joined as professor in 2008. When I went in 2008, that was a very challenging period. That it was economic crisis. financial conditions were bad. Main thing is funding situation became worse. Success rate, grant success rate went down from 20% to somewhere between 5 to 10%. It was very difficult. And that too in a university like Bradford, a small university, not a very research-intense university. We have to compete with universities, Cambridge and Oxford and UCLs all the time. Then the university made a very strategic decision. University decided that we have limited resources and we cannot afford to spread the resources thinly across the university. We should focus resources where really we are going to get, there is opportunity to get some returns in terms of maybe success, grand success. So they selected, the criteria was the groups which have high, good track record of grand success, and the areas where there is potential for success. So these two criteria were kept. The 8 centers were in the area of where there is good track record and critical mass already present. And Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science was allotted based on the potential for being successful. And in 2010, center was established, and I was lucky. I was given opportunity to lead the Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science. So what is Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science? The business case which I proposed, or the things which I proposed that time, we had success in the area of pharmaceutical sciences through Professor Peter York, and we have another successful area in the university, which is IRC, Interdisciplinary Research Center in Polymer Engineering. There are different IRCs funded by government across UK. There is one at Durham, which is more into chemistry. There is medical engineering, which is at Sheffield. So same way we have one in polymer engineering, led by Professor Phil Coates. Phil was that time Pro-Vice Chancellor Research. And my job, or my argument, or my aim was to bring these two institutions together, the expertise from pharmaceutical sciences or life sciences and engineering. I thought if we can bring together, that will provide something which is unique. So we brought chemistry, structural, computational chemists from chemistry, fundamental chemists. Properties and performance came from life sciences, mainly pharmaceutics material, pharmaceutics people, and processing from engineering. When everything was brought together, that was unique. No other university was offering that time anything like this. And what we thought, this interdisciplinary research center, which is bringing all disciplines together, will do fundamental research. We will bring researchers together and develop something which will be useful for the companies. Our fundamental research will try to get funding from the government, but translate it to the companies, provide solutions. And it was started in 2010. The model on which we worked, so we started providing really, first our offering area was only hot melt extrusion. The capabilities were very limited. So we started with process development, but slowly university provided us one good thing. We have been given 3 years overhead holidays. So all overheads which we will bring, the directors were allowed to invest it in the way they want. So that autonomy was provided. Then immediately, and luckily, we started getting business from day one, because in the area of hot melt extrusion, that time there were very limited number of players. The system was coming up it was relatively new to the pharmaceutical industry also. So we started on that, but then I expanded our capabilities in processing and started delivering the offering made. We started formulation development, pre-formulation, that is characterization, formulation, process development, and process understanding. So these first 3 years, we focused on this and tried to deliver. Our main clientele that time was big pharma companies. So GSK, Pfizer, we could go and try to get some funding. What we realized is we are getting good funding, but we were at the periphery. What type of projects we were getting are solving some small problem for these companies, though we get good returns on for that. The impact which the satisfaction of providing impact was not there when you go for this big pharmas, unless you have very strong fundamental science. And what I can see is the high fundamental science research university like Hyderabad, you have everything where you can make huge impact on a bigger scale. For a small center like us, which was more into applied, it was relatively difficult. So initially, for first 3 years, I focused on big pharmas, and every 3 years. So what is exactly the center? The structure of the center, if you see, we were provided a small investment of £100,000, which covered a postdoc and a small hot melt extruder, pharma grade. And then after that, we were told that for next 3 years, whatever overheads you will bring, you can use it, but after that, you have to be self-sustained. That is something was the criteria. So in this center, the approach is whenever company comes to you, bring expertise from different areas. So company may come up today with some problem of processing, engineering, computational, understanding. Then accordingly, I can bring scientists from engineering, chemistry. They need not be core part of the center, but we can, based on the expertise. So what exactly, as a director, I have to do? Whosoever comes new to the center, new to the university, I will have 1 hour discussion with them, try to understand, go through their profile, understand where exactly this person can contribute. In other words, how can I sell this person? So that is something which made me think about the things. But after that, we decided that we will invest because if companies can make money based on our innovations or our thinking, why I can't make something for the university? And we decided that we will check the technology. If we come across any technology, any product, any service where really there is huge, good commercial opportunity, we can invest our own resources, develop that to certain stage, and after that we'll try to commercialize with companies. So there are few of these. So effervescent is one, but we have developed many of these technologies. They are in different stages of development. Some we have to wind up also. So this is something which we were doing. And that time then, after 3 years, every 3 years, we have to go through really brutal evaluation process, appraisal process. And if you are in red, if you are making losses, there will be questions, there will be support for some time, but otherwise there will be tough action on that. So it was a very professional and commercial environment. So from the first time, in 2010, every 3 years, what we decided to do is to develop a strategy. We have to work as per, there should be strategic thinking, which I wasn't doing any time in India. But since I went there, I thought that let me give a week or so for thinking exactly how I want to plan my center for next 3 years, sit down with the team and do that. So this is the recent strategy. Just before coming, we had our recent review process completed. Hopefully, for last 13 years, Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science is in green. We never went into amber or red. So now this and strategy, very simple action plan we kept. So first thing is keep the plan very dynamic, keep on changing that based on the changes which are happening outside, funding agencies, societal changes, internal, your university structural changes, whatever it is. That was the first thing we did, widen the participation. This is one of the most important thing which I thought as an academic I was lacking, that I was not interacting enough with the end users, with the companies, with clinicians. I didn't understand where the problems are. So one thing which we decided that widen the participation with stakeholders, bring more stakeholders on the board also, or anywhere you get chance, do that. This is one important thing which I realized is lacking in the academics, is lack of awareness about innovation and entrepreneurship. Most of the academics in my team, when they started, they didn't have much idea about innovation, about even patents, CDAs, means protection side, but even what should be patented and what should not be patented. And I will say academics, we make two types of error, alpha and beta. So when there is no commercial opportunity in your work, people keep on patenting it. And when really there is innovation, there is good commercial opportunity, we miss it and we publish it. So this awareness, when we started creating, we started educating people. Sometimes for early career researchers, I said, you are not going to publish without discussion internally. And give the plan, what you are going to do. Let us see that is it any worth, or can we find out something in that area. Now I'm in the last phase of my career, which is last 7-8 years. I'm planning to step down, retire, but before that I will step down from the directorship as soon as possible. So what is most important is succession planning. And where exactly I don't want to end up is suddenly leave the things. So for that, what we do now is we are appointing now co-director or deputy directors, leads for each and every area, and evaluate them based on their performance and nurture them, support them, mentor them, and see who should be your succession, how you can manage your succession. As I said, we have to keep on changing our priorities or our strategies, approaches. So currently, we are focusing more on sustainability, and from everywhere, Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, should be kept priority. This is as a center. As a center, another thing what happens is I have autonomy in working. So I don't have, so when I'm saying that research should align with the SDGs, I don't have to go to the central research group or to the university, anything. At the center level, we implement it. Many times we implement it first, and once based on that success, it is taken up by the university. So now we've decided that each and every research student, even when they submit their project, they need to write how my work is aligned to or will contribute, what I did in alignment with SDGs. And that is also useful for branding, because we know that grants are going to be in the sustainability area. That is another advantage. But we are producing responsible graduates through, that is one of the objectives. This is another thing, that diversity. I worked in India for 20 years. Unfortunately, Pharmacy Council of India never allowed us to appoint anybody other than pharmacy graduate. If we appoint anybody from organic chemistry, microbiology or anything, Pharmacy Council will say, these numbers will not be counted in your staff number. That time only I used to think how ideas will come, how student will be exposed to other things. And still it is the practice. Still it is the practice. But we try to appoint people with different backgrounds, starting from physics, chemistry, and everything in our research groups. And diversity. Another thing, conventional appointments always are with high impact research papers and grants. That is the only criteria. But we consider that everybody will not be same. Somebody will be good at working with the companies, somebody will be good at fundamental. We need to respect both the qualities at the same, and otherwise in the progression, this problem comes mainly in the progression. Somebody like me who is not publishing in Nature and Science will be always considered as at secondary, will struggle, but somebody may work with companies, may have some innovation, something. So all those diversity should be considered, and we encourage internationalization. One of my major objective of coming to Hyderabad, and I'm going all across India, and internationalization everywhere in all possible ways we want. Most important thing coming up is impact. Now our funding agencies also want to see impact. They're 10, 15 years back, impact was not, everything was focused around fundamental science. All research grants were around fundamental science. Slowly, funding agencies realized that this is not possible, it is not, we cannot survive, and we are answerable to taxpayers. So we have to show impact. So what we do currently is, with individual, as a center, I developed impact plan. What impact I want to achieve in 5 years? What technologies I'm going to do something. But apart from that, we encourage individual also to develop his or her own plan on research as well as impact. Not only research plan, impact also. Everybody may not be taking product to the market, but they can contribute, they start thinking something. Where center is different than a CRO outside outside the university. We need to always remember that we are part of the university. We have advantages of university, but at the same time, can I return something? So internal impact on the student, my teaching should be there, but at the same time, there should be economic impact also to the university. Can I develop on the basis of our core strength, critical mass which we have in research, can I develop one postgraduate program which will attract students? No doubt here, our salaries are paid by government. We don't have that luxury. We have to bring our own salaries. So number of students, if student number goes down, teaching pays salary. Research cannot bring salaries. This is true only for really high research intense universities, not for all the universities. And most important thing, how can we accelerate impact? Because any delay in achieving impact of the innovation, there is market is lost. So we work very closely with companies, clinicians, and other stakeholders, regulatory agencies, everywhere. So for innovation, it is not something which has to be new, but it should be at least perceived to be new. It is, and it may be different approach, a product, process. It may be a new process, it may be a new product, or it is completely new application of that. And what I thought, why now currently I'm doing some research on innovation management. I thought that universities, we have the best human resource available in the area, in the sector. Top level scientists are here, excellent young brains are with us. We have excellent infrastructure, the type of quality of equipments and instruments, everything is with us. We are relatively well funded by government, and still our output is really limited. Something is going wrong. Whereas the small company sitting next door to me, it is really does not have any luxury what I have, but they go to the market and they do significant. So what is missing is some innovation management is going wrong. So many times innovations, and most of the times innovations, if they are not managed properly, we end up in challenges. And what I learned and what I have seen in my own examples, I will discuss. I did some search on universities' data. Now here you can see HEI, higher education institutes. So when this is 13 to 18 data. In these 5 years, average interactions between the companies and universities, 25,000 with big businesses, and it generated around 640 million pounds. Whereas small scale industries, large number of interactions, amount generated is almost 1/3. So 3 times interaction and 1/3 outcome. And that's why universities do not like much to focus, or academics do not like much to spend on SMEs, because they think that what I'm going to get 20,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, instead of that, if I can go to GSK, if I can get 120,000 pounds. So this difference is there. Innovate UK is similar or mirror agency of TDB, Technology Development Board here. It funds mainly to the companies. Most of our grants are industry-led grants or industry-focused grants, though it has granted to me. So it funded in these 5 years this much. 1,200 patents were filed. Licensing income was only 111 million. Only 40 academic spin-outs have come up. Why spin-outs are so less? Universities are very risk-averse. We are trying to, and these things always happen. We'll go to university, I want to start a spin-out, university will say no. Provide a business case, we write a business case, and then university say, it is really tough business case to go through. Overall return on investment on research and innovation investment which universities make, this is the most interesting observation. And around 30% universities make less than 0%. Less than 0%, even minus 200%. They have lost money. And that's why whatever you invest on research and innovation, all the time this group is under pressure. Why should we pay for patent? Nothing is coming out. All the time there is issue with that. There are 20% universities. These are top universities where one COVID vaccine can cover up 500 times income they can of the investment they can bring. That type of things are here. But most of the universities, small and medium universities, they really struggle. We do not make money out of that. And that really makes universities to become more risk-averse. University vice chancellors will say, you are not bringing any money, why should we fund more on that? So the budgets on this part are always low, but really it is not that, it is basically why this is happening, because we are not managing innovations properly. When you invest on innovation, you say, as an academic, I think everything which I am doing, I need a patent to be filed. But really, is it worth filing a patent? So a system should be developed. What happens is 90% cases academics file the patent, and after filing, energy goes down. Then they forget I have filed the patent. Each patent is a huge cost. It is a huge cost. It costs somewhere between 100,000 to 500,000 pounds in the UK. Here it will be much cheaper. But then, what is the point in filing the patent? It is, we file it because we need it on our CV. But yeah. So the challenge is, I realize why we do not achieve these things, because there is lack of awareness. Academics are not aware. Academics are making mistakes. They are trying to, there is no interdisciplinarity. Why there is no interdisciplinarity? Because there is bureaucracy. Now here that part is again not there, but we are cost centers. If I say that I want to work with School of Chemistry, my head will say, but where the money is going? Who is going to get credit? Where the overheads are going to come? Are they going to come to pharmacy, or they are going to go to chemistry? And then deans, heads, these people, they bring on barriers overall. Now, everybody has to overcome. And this, over a period of time, university has realized that this is not going to work. Deans have realized that this is not going to work. Recruitment progression, as I said, if I go to my performance review next year, and if I say that I haven't published anything in high impact journal, they will say, we need to check your continuation. Or while in recruitment, somebody comes and says that I have done some innovation, I have done some company work, and some other person will say I have published in Angavante. Whom will you recruit? That decision is again one thing which is challenging. And innovation management support. You are very lucky to have such a fantastic team here. That time we didn't have, in Pune I didn't have that. So overall in innovation management, these factors are important when you are starting a journey. As soon as you think that I'm going to do something, I have something new, really think that does it have impact potential, evaluate that, make a strategy, how I'm going to go up to a market. Sometimes what happens is you will develop a molecule and you will say, oh, fantastic, it has excellent anti-cancer activity, and I want to patent it. But what is the journey? How long is the journey? How much investment you need? All that strategy need to be there. So protection, should I protect it as a know-how? Should I protect it as a patent? Will I get enough resources to take it up to final stage? And which is very challenging, more fundamental or strong in innovation you have, and which I think this university will have, resources also required will also be very high. And we can't rely on only grants, because grants, I will write a grant application, it may be unsuccessful this time, again after 6 months I will write the next one. By that time, years have gone. You need partners to reach to the impact. Again, here it is very, I think, the best place, because you have 30, 40 companies sitting in your incubator. You can identify partner quite quickly. This is so here industry is in your doorstep. We need to accelerate impact. Do focus. Have a team which is really working on that, which generally doesn't happen. We are working on so many projects, and we can't focus, accelerate, widen the impact, and collect evidence of, which is from our point of view in the university. So I'm going to give you just 3 examples and where I went wrong and how I learned during that. So I worked on co-crystal. When I went to Bradford, I came to know the term co-crystal. Then I started reading. So co-crystals, I don't need to explain to this audience what is co-crystal. This is the origin of co-crystal. So when I heard the word co-crystal, how I came to know the word co-crystal, I used to sit with PhD students, and one of the PhD students, Dave Berry, he was working on co-crystal. I asked him what is co-crystal. He gave me, I remember Professor Desiraju's and Professor Nangia's paper and Bill Jones's papers, and he said, you can get idea through this. I will explain what happened after that. So I started reading, and I realized that it is used for, there are number of publications and patents around co-crystals that time, but nothing was in the market. And why, I tried to understand why nothing is in the market, because nobody can manufacture co-crystals at that time. That was the case. And so Bill Jones showed that you can improve compressional properties. He also showed that caffeine hydrate, instead of forming hydrate, if you make a co-crystal, the water binding site of this will be taken up by this, and oxalic acid or any other acid, and then you can prevent it. So I started focusing on manufacturing of co-crystal, and I read about what are the methods of manufacturing co-crystal. There are different solution-based methods. All these methods have their limitations in terms of losses, scale-up issues, all these things. They was preparing something under microscope, just heating the two materials and at their interface, two powders, powder A and B, and at the interface of this, really eutectic mixture used to form, and you will get, at this interface, you will form a new phase. And this was all under hot stage microscope. And I thought, what is use of this? Because my thinking was more into kilos and grams. So at that time, I was going through the labs, and I saw hot melt extruder, and I thought, this is wonderful thing. Can I make co-crystals in a hot melt extruder? We have IRC in polymer engineering, and the excellent thing which happened there is I didn't get only the hot melt extruder, but I had experience, 20, 30 years experience of engineers working on hot melt extruder. That is something which would not have been possible anywhere. I can get equipment in the lab, I can get grant and have, and this happened with most of the colleges and universities. You get an equipment and pass A and get B, but here what I got is 10 engineers who are expert in hot melt extruder. They worked on polymer for years together. So with them, I realized how to change the screw geometry, how to understand energy calculations, develop different screw configurations, and I developed a technology where A and B will go into the barrel. This is, you can change the temperature, you can change energy, you can change shear, and what happened is directly you started getting co-crystal. So something which was till that time was being prepared in milligrams or in the solutions in few milligrams, we could, in a solvent-free environment, we could continuously manufacture kilos of co-crystals. That was the main thing. I thought it is very exciting, and so pure co-crystals, solvent-free, high yield, whatever goes in comes out, no losses, and we can have stoichiometric control also. And I thought this was the first report of manufacturing co-crystals at that scale. But after that, in 6 months, Amgen also developed that. But it was very industry relevant, strong interdisciplinarity. I filed process patent around that. We were very well funded with different grants. I got my first big grant around that. I could get number of PhDs, publications, MPhil, but I could not sell this patent. I could not, whenever you go to companies will say, co-crystals are not required, you are using hot melt extruder, it is too risky. I did not realize that part, and I spent a lot of time on this patent. instead of that, I thought I should not have patented it. I should have kept know-how, and I could have earned some money out of that. But anyway, I could get good grants, and main thing, I could not get any impact partner, any company agreeing to invest on this. I will give you a simple example. After that, I interacted with a company, and this company was in vitamin mineral supplement section. A typical nutraceutical company, small, big, large volumes, low margin company. They were, because vitamin supplements, they are thermolabile materials, granulation is an issue, and they used to just manufacture, get ready-made granules from Germany. They did not have any flexibility in their formulation, and it was expensive. I said, can I sort out this problem? And I developed the method for granulation, which is known method, but not very commonly used. I used that method, and that was very well funded. Know-how, I knew that there is no chance of patent. We kept know-how in the company. Company was highly benefited. Company immediately all their imports from Germany have stopped. They changed their 36 formulations on this technology. But one thing, I made a mistake. I did not realize when I started that there is something I'm making is really going to make such a huge impact to the company. I didn't ask for any profit, any royalty from the company, because that time I was not confident when we started. And but it helped. And in the university, what happens in the UK, our grant structure is slightly different. We have every 6 years, government, we have to go through government evaluation. Each university has to go through evaluation, that how much research you are doing. Your research evaluation is done. So 4 publications every faculty member have to submit. Those will be evaluated, those will be graded, and there will be few billion pounds which are there, and government will give every year some amount based on your research intensity. Again, 80 to 90% funding goes to all top universities. They take away, Cambridge and Oxford and UCLs take away main funding. Rest 10, 20 pound, whatever remains, we keep on fighting. But slowly, since last 2 cycles, impact has become important. Now government is saying not only your publications, show us how much impact you have achieved. And that is advantageous for universities like us. We can't do very high level outputs, can't publish in Nature and Science, but if I can make some really good impact on the companies, that will be, so 25% money is now kept for that, so we can get that money. And then came the last innovation. Now I realized that I need to focus and really get this through. So this idea about the problem, and this is where I'm saying that end user engagement is important. I was giving talk in Nagpur in a small company, and I gave talk on hot melt extrusion for co-crystallization. He said, this is a very good technology, but we don't, a small company, we never are going to do these things. Our problem is these effervescent tablets we have to manufacture for paracetamol. Can you solve this? I said, I don't work on paracetamol and aspirin. But after 3 months, after going back, suddenly it came to my mind. I kept on reading on. I really didn't know about the problem, but he gave me problem. So problem is citric acid, effervescent compositions, very simple. Citric acid, sodium bicarbonate, really very cheap materials, but when you are mixing them at very small, relatively low humidity, they start reaction. Next water molecule will come out, and the reaction it will catalyze the next reaction. Once it has started, it is very difficult to control. So what is our regular humidity in manufacturing area under GMP? 40 to 50% RH at 25 degrees. So that is the GMP manufacturing condition. At that point, the reaction will take place. 30 to 40% CO2 is lost. The reaction, during reaction, you will get, so what companies do? Companies dehumidify all the manufacturing area to 10 to 15% RH. So you can imagine in Chennai or Mumbai, from 80% or 90% RH and 40 degrees Celsius, you have to bring down temperature to 25 and humidity to 10% RH. How expensive it is, how difficult it is. So this is the cost. If you, this is example from Singapore. So from 85% to 46%, even if you had to bring in, it costs $3 per hour. And just instead of 45, 46, if you want to bring even 25% RH, cost is 3 to 4 times. So it is very expensive. Carbon footprint is very high. Investment is very high. Sorry. And you need packaging materials. Now this is typical packaging for nutritional supplement. In the cap, there is silica gel. So this is not recyclable. This, for 20 tablets, you are going to use 30 grams of plastic. So you can see how difficult it is. So what we did, we just used simple DVS, dynamic vapor sorption, which is a thermogravimetry, gravimetric estimation at different, evaluation at different humidity, equilibrated at different humidities. And what we saw, citric acid absorbs around 35% moisture, about 60 to 70. Sodium bicarbonate, absolutely not much, 0.35. But if you mix these two, and you will see that between 40 to 50, which is our manufacturing condition, less than 0.5% moisture is absorbed, and as soon as it is absorbed, reaction started, and immediately weight loss is there, CO2 has been released. So that showed us this is something which is happening. So we made co-crystal of citric acid. So we used Bill Jones's observation on caffeine, just block the sites. We thought that, can I block the sites of citric acid in the co-crystal? This is all reported. Co-crystal of citric acid reported. We didn't do anything new. But we used citric acid co-crystal to stop the reaction. And you can see, instead of 35%, now it is taking only 0.25% moisture, the co-crystal. Then we made effervescent mixture. You can see here the effervescent mixture, when citric acid was used, weight loss is there, CO2 is getting lost, there is no loss in this case. So what is on the market? Currently and this is the problem, it was really exciting. This is technology readiness level 1. 2, we have proven our concept. What is on the market? So immediately I started checking market. On the market, there is concept or product which is called Epher soda. In Epher soda, so this is citric acid, this is sodium bicarbonate. In Epher soda, there is coating of sodium sesquicarbonate on the surface of sodium bicarbonate. But it is a particulate level coating, so just bring barrier, but still you need hygrothermal control. You need humidity control. You need packaging things. Whereas there is another, Bayer came out with this, which is topogranulation. What is topogranulation? They carry out controlled reaction between the two under vacuum, and it forms a layer of sodium citrate on surface of citric acid. What we did is a molecular level complex of citric acid and coformer. We use nicotinamide at that stage, and it has become, we filed patent. Now this time it was product patent, I was confident. Now I can protect it well. So we filed it in 2014. In 2019, still it took 5 years. But before we really go to this stage, there are 2 more things which were required. that is somebody should invest in this. Who will take the product? Because that time there was no technology to manufacture co-crystal at that scale. Whether I will be successful or not, these are done by the company. Company protected trademark, company has know-how. But the company for which I developed granulation technology, they did not understand, they have no knowledge about co-crystal, they have no idea about challenges of co-crystal. They put money on me. They invested on me. This was the company Health Innovations, for which we developed granulation technology, that they thought that whatever I will do, I will be successful. Without, they put blankly money. They invested around 1.5 million pound for this technology. And I was supported by different grants, around 600K by Innovate UK. They developed new facility for that, for nutritional supplement, but they also started a new company called as Octopoda Innovations, where the patents was licensed out by the university. And only to give them confidence, I went to their company. They didn't have any manufacturing in the UK. It was in Slovakia. I went there and I demonstrated how a Fairchild tablet will perform, how tablet remained stable for 30 days, whereas their company tablet, when kept open, collapsed in 12 hours. No hygrothermal control is required, so company thought they will start manufacturing in the UK. So that's why they put. There are many advantages. One of the major challenge in effervescent products is high sodium content. A regular effervescent tablet, maybe vitamin C, paracetamol, contains 300 milligrams sodium. So whenever you are taking daily 1 tablet or 2 tablets per day, who are taking these? Most of the consumers are elderly people who have hypertension and other issues already there. If you take 300 milligram in 1 tablet, that means you are eating daily 70 grams chips. That much sodium you are taking every time. And you can imagine this issue. What we did is, we have, in our case, because there is no loss during processing, and we can formulate it in a different way, we brought it between 56 to 150 milligram, half to 1/5. So that was one healthcare advantage. The most important advantage which came up, so see, when effervescent products came to market, 1910, first effervescent product. This was then the next innovation was screw cap containers. Then 1960s, plastic flooded the market. Then came these. We have now brought it into home compostable paper packaging. So all the packaging innovation we could give innovations in other terms. But the most important thing when we were thinking about this, during COVID and in last 3-4 years, awareness about plastic went up significantly. And one sector which opened up was home care cleaning sector, household cleaning. Household cleaning, we use more than 29 billion bottles, plastic bottles per year globally. They contain 99% water. Hardly 1 to 2% is solid. There are eco brands. Ecover is the leading brand. Still you get it in the plastic bottle. Plastic is not recycled. Only 99% bottles are recycled. So we converted. This is again not our own idea. This was idea of another company. They wanted to bring this into tablet form, effervescent tablet, but they could not manufacture it at the scale. See what happens when you try to tablet an effervescent product, because a cleaning product, because it contains large amount of surfactants, highly hygroscopic materials, very difficult to compress. If you make the tablets even in 30 days, This is something what happens to the tablet. In day by day, in 1 week to 30 days, everything will be useless. There is YouTube link which I have kept here, which you can see. It is a pitch provided by the two innovators on Dragon's Den, which is equivalent of Shark Tank in the Shark Tank in India. What we did is, when they compressed using our technique, so now we compress for them. You can see the quality of tablets. Now you can pack those in any way, with different packagings. You can bulk package also. So if I have to export 10,000 or 100,000 tablets, I can bulk pack it. This is the product which came up in the UK market. So these are, now there are many companies which use our brand, but this is the first one, which is glass cleaner, bathroom cleaner, all these type of things. It provided significant impact. So we are thinking commercial impact will be there. We expect already eco-cleaning products are all on the market. We expect foods and beverage to enter foods and beverages this year, pharma by 26, 27 sometime. University will get hopefully good royalty income between 100,000 to 300,000 minimum per year till 2034. Good regional and international impact. The patent is protected, already granted in US, Europe, India, Korea, and waiting for China. And significant environmental impact, and which we can measure. This is the most important. Each and every product of EPSRC which goes to market removes one plastic bottle from the market. We expect in 2023 we will sell around 2 million tablets. So 2 million bottles will be saved from the market. So that is main impact. It brings down significantly manufacturing cost, water requirement. You don't need to manufacture in this small area. You can do that. Logistic cost, shelf space, everything is brought down. Plastic usage is main. There are academic impacts also. Because we are the first team or the company to manufacture in the, at least at that stage, around 400 kilograms. We started with 400 milligrams of co-crystal. Now we manufacture 400 kilograms of co-crystals per day. Good impact case study. What is use of impact case? And this is just, it is not relevant here, but when I was discussing about metrics on which we evaluate academics. So for example, if I would have published 5 nature papers, these are called as 4-star impact, nature or any high quality papers. How much government grant I will get? Not me, university. We are not, nobody knows that which papers are 4-star. But when university submits 5 4-star impact papers, which I am sure everyone here has, you get 480,000 pounds over a period of 7 years. But if I generate 1 4-star impact case study, which I hope this will be, I will get 500, around same amount of money. So that is the way people like who are not very good at publications can survive. It will help for us in branding CPS, good grant income, and healthcare impact, but I need to generate clinical data for that. So in summary, a strong interdisciplinary team is required. It should be supported by Research and Innovation Support Office. Impact partners need to be on board, and then we can accelerate innovation. Innovation management is required, resources are required, and main thing, the most important thing, risk-taking partners. If I would not have met these two people, Richard Doyle and Claire Campbell, if they would not have shown confidence in me and invested 2-3 millions on me, it would not have gone. You need an impact case partner. Now people say that you sold it at relatively cheaper because we signed off before even grant of patent. But most important thing, who has taken this risk? It is enormous risk. Enormous risk. 3 million pounds would have gone if co-crystals would have been unsuccessful. So, yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for the very interesting lecture. Sir, if you don't mind, can we have a question answer session? Yeah. So I will leave the group open for some questions.
Very good lecture. Thank you very much for that. So you mentioned about catching ideas before they are published. If you want to catch innovations from those who don't, who underestimate their own potential, how do you catch them? From a university point of view, what's the catchment area?
This is something you need some. You need research support office. You need a team which will understand really where is opportunity. So really, somebody need to identify the opportunity. And sometimes the best thing is if academic himself himself or herself can identify it. But for that, you need to train them. They need to interact daily. They need to spend significant amount of their time. And everybody does not like. For example, when I prepared co-crystals in hot melt extruder, I was preparing kilos of co-crystal. I was excited, and I went to the chemistry person who was working on it. I said, "See, you are doing a few milligrams under microscope. I can give you kilos." He said, "Yes, but you don't understand any science." So to appreciate, so I can appreciate, and initially when I interacted, I didn't appreciate why you are doing this benzoic acid, benzamide co-crystal. So he was good at understanding, and I was not good at understanding. But that you need to appreciate, that team should be there. So fundamental scientists alone will not be useful, and application scientists, they both need to work together. This is the most important thing. We work in silos. If I would have said, without me, engineers can't do anything, they don't have any knowledge of pharmaceutics. But at the same time, I don't have the experience which they have. So I need to understand their scope, their knowledge, and appreciate. This is one challenge in interdisciplinarity. And that is where if we have, and after our success in a good center, many universities tried to bring it in the UK also. But it is not easy. It is not easy for two groups to come together. We all know challenges of working with academics, our egos, our challenges, all those are there. But if we can overcome those, and there will be some, there are some, like when I was interacting with Professor Chandrasekhar, I can see, oh my God, how many things are there. So it is interaction is really more important.
So you are in a university ecosystem, so therefore you interact with students a lot, I'm sure.
Yes.
How would you inspire a student to innovate by thinking out of box?
So this is really a good question. So on most of the projects, we involve students. So for example, this patent, 50% of my royalty is going to the student. So student is involved. We involve PhD students at least. or even MSc students. They are involved whenever we work with companies. What we do is, most of the time we employ student on hourly paid basis, so that they know the real problems. That is the most important thing. Second thing, the students, even if they are not involved actually in the project, we ask them to shadow us during meetings, during interactions, during monitoring meetings. More interactions students will have with companies, and many times ideas come from the students, many times. For example, we are working on developed one technology for abuse resistant. The polymer which we were using for another application, and students just said, can we use it here? So we can, yes, but we need to expose them also to the new areas. That is where we forget or we miss. We think that only their PhD thesis is more important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our Vice Chancellor, sir, to felicitate our distinguished speaker.
Real pleasure and honor for me. University of Hyderabad.
Dear friends, this was a very interesting lecture, and I think this will all encourage us at the University of Hyderabad to move forward. To bring the occasion to the close, I would request Professor S.G. Ramkumar to propose a vote of thanks, and after that, kindly join us for a cup of tea.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, this is a breadwinner talk, which actually gives or find ways to bring money to the university as a whole. I think those who have missed for whatever reason will find the YouTube link in a couple of days to watch again. Thank you, wonderful talk. At the outset, I thank I have to remember the people who are behind the university for bringing this IOE to this university. Without the brand tag of IOE, the funds might have not been there, and without funds, this kind of eminent people will not come here. And even though many of the people who would have retired, who contributed for this IOE program, for example, you mentioned Professor Desiraju in between, and there are Professor Mehta is with us. So so many people from my school I remember who are more important in contributing in the past, and also in the present, all my colleagues who are also tirelessly working for it. In addition to that, I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, and other statutory officers who are managing all the things related to IOE plus the university. Our IOE director is there, and IOE deputy directors are there. So the system is almost well managed, and thanks to them for making this scheme going on to this university. Not but least, the most important is our chair professor, who has taken a lot of struggle to come all the way from UK to here. Why? Because he is already holding a position as a director, and the time there and the time here is not matching. So he has to manage there the official things, and he has to also be active during the daytime. It's tricky to actually 18 hours per day time he is spending. So thanks to him to take the extra burden and agree to come and visit our school, and it was a wonderful interaction. Everyone had enough interaction with him. I'm sure that other schools also would have had sufficient interaction. The take-home message, as I remember, I can understand, is we have to find ways to generate money, and time is not so far for us to simply depend on the government. The government on one day will say, we have given enough resources, it's time to you to find your money. So thanks for again giving us the warning in a very polite way that you have to be aware of the resources and try to make money. And to conclude, maintaining this hall plus making arrangements, the team and the PRO and the support staff who still give this wonderful ambience, I thank all of them. Thank you all. We'll join for